In a lifetime comprising a mere 32 years, Bruce Lee revolutionized the world of martial arts through his profound teachings and philosophy, and created a legacy through his work in motion pictures that has evolved into a legend. Thought by many to be the greatest martial artist of the 20th century, Bruce Lee was born in San Francisco on November the 27th, 1940, between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. at the Jackson Street Hospital, under the birth name of Lee Jun-fan. Courtesy of his thespian father, young Bruce made his stage debut at the tender age of 3 months, playing the role of a female baby. His father, Lee Hoi-chun, a prestigious member of the Cantonese Opera Company, would carry his young son on stage each night during his performance of Golden Gate Girl. In 1941, when Bruce was only 1 year old, he returned with his parents to the family home in Kowloon, Hong Kong. The modest second-story apartment at 218 Nathan Road would be Bruce's home for most of his formative years. By age 6, Bruce had already begun to develop the charisma and confidence that would later make him a star, and he appeared in his first major childhood movie, The Beginning of a Boy, in 1946. Later in the same year, Bruce performed in The Birth of Mankind and My Son Ah-chun, and went on to make over 20 movies before commencing his studies at La Salle College in 1952. 1953 was a pivotal year in the life of Bruce Lee. After losing a street fight with a local gang, Bruce began to train in the art of Wing Chun under famed Sifu Yip Man. His natural speed and timing and acute mental focus guaranteed that Bruce would excel in this complex and exacting art. In fact, his precocious talent developed so quickly that despite numerous other encounters with street gangs, Bruce would never again lose a fight. As well as indulging his passion for the martial arts, Bruce also began taking cha-cha lessons in 1954 at age 14. The dance was popular amongst local teenagers at the time, and Bruce not only went on to win the Crown Colony Cha-Cha Championship in 1958, but also broke the hearts of many local girls. As well as his achievements on the dance floor, 58 was also notable as the year when Bruce defeated reigning 3-year champion Gary Elms in the Hong Kong Boxing Championships, putting to practical use the combat theory he had devised with Sifu Yip Man. Like many Hong Kong teenagers of the time, Bruce became caught up in the turf wars which surrounded the illicit activities of the local street gangs. Participating in numerous street fighting incidents, Bruce soon came to the attention of the police. Terrified that their son would forever become embroiled in a life of crime, Bruce's mother and father decided that he should visit San Francisco, the place of his birth, to claim his American citizenship and finish his education. With only $15 from his father and $100 from his mother, Bruce arrived in the United States in 1959 and stayed by prior arrangement with an old friend of his father. By carrying out odd jobs around the Chinese communities in the San Francisco Bay Area, Bruce earned just enough money to secure his independence within a few months and relocated to Seattle to begin work as a waiter in Ruby Chow's famous Chinatown restaurant. Mindful of the promise he had made to his parents, Bruce enrolled at the Edison Technical School and through diligent study and application earned his high school diploma, while supplementing his income from the restaurant by teaching martial arts to local residents in backyards and city parks. By the time Bruce had reached the age of 21 in 1961, his skill in the martial arts was astounding, both in terms of physical application and his understanding of the philosophical evolution, which shaped its development as both a combat medium and art form. In March of the same year, Bruce matriculated and went on to the University of Washington to study philosophy. Very soon, knowledge of his incredible skill spread to the other students, and Bruce once again fulfilled the role of both teacher and mentor to many of his classmates. After a romance lasting several months with local girl Amy Sanbo, Bruce, aged 23, decided to propose in the summer of '63, but was turned down. Dejected, he returned to Hong Kong with friend Doug Palmer to visit his family and to benefit from a few months of rest and relaxation before recommencing his studies. The remainder of '63 was to prove to be a significant time in the life of Bruce Lee. Not only did he open his first Junfang Kung Fu Institute, where he would fly in the face of tradition by teaching his direct, effective, and street-realistic principles of self-defense to any person of any race, but he also embarked on a relationship with a certain Linda Emery. Bruce's first date with Linda was on October the 25th at the Space Needle restaurant in Seattle, and the two quickly fell in love and would eventually marry. Encouraged by Linda, Bruce moved his Junfang Kung Fu Institute to 4750 University Way, near the university campus, and benefited greatly from a major influx of students who became interested in his teachings and principles of self-defense. In 1964, aged 24, Bruce met Jun Rhee, the man considered by many to be the father of Taekwondo in America. The two men would go on to develop a lifelong friendship based on their respect for each other's abilities, and Rhee subsequently invited Bruce to appear at tournaments in Washington and other locations throughout the United States to demonstrate his breathtaking skills. Due to his success with the school in Washington and his growing profile within the United States as a renowned master of the martial arts, Bruce opened a second Junfang Kung Fu school in Oakland, and his good friend and student Taki Kimura took over the responsibility as head instructor. On August 2, 1964, Bruce performed at the International Karate Championships in Long Beach, California, at the invitation of Kenpo legend Ed Parker. Bruce mesmerized the audience with his feats of superhuman ability, including the performance of a series of two-finger push-ups and the incredible one-inch punch. The one-inch punch was a technique that Bruce developed with student James DeMille, which effectively allowed him to position his fist 1 inch away from the torso of an opponent, and with a short, focused strike, propel him backwards several feet through the air, seemingly without effort. Present at the groundbreaking demonstration was Jay Sebring, hairstylist for the popular Batman TV series starring Adam West and Burt Ward. Sebring was so impressed with Bruce's physical prowess and magnetic charisma that he immediately put him in touch with Batman producer William Dozier, who invited Bruce to LA to take part in a screen test for his forthcoming TV series, The Green Hornet. After a passionate whirlwind romance lasting less than a year, Bruce proposed to Linda, and the couple married on August 17, 1964, and moved to Oakland, California.